time. All right. Well, it is now. What is this? Is this Tuesday already? I can set
Yes, sir.
my calendar because it's Nicholas Gibbs. And thank you, Nick, for joining us today, as usual, on Tuesday. And I understand we had a little conversation in the green room that you are still not in possession of your version of 4.3, but you have some speculation. You go ahead, speculate away. That's what we do on this channel.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're gonna get 4.3 as a rollout. To be frank, I think we're gonna see 12.4.4. And I'm hoping that comes out soon. This can sound weird and a little mythological, or I don't know if that's the word, metaphysical. It it feels like it's about to go out.
I see. Okay.
So I don't know how else to say that, but it's just like
it's in your gut. It's a gut.
Yeah, it's kind of like when like oh, things are different with Tesla stock. It's like you don't know it necessarily at first, but like it feels different, So that's how it feels right now. It feels like either we're gonna get 4.3 soon or 4.4 is gonna come out.
All right, and then there's been this big, back and forth on X today about Tesla paying more attention to certain drivers than they do to other drivers, and that might be giving them wrong signals. That Elon Musk, they pay way more attention to his driving and his neighborhoods and whatever, and Chuck Cook and some others, and therefore that's why it doesn't work in Colorado.
I think people don't know what they're talking about.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I think too, but hey, listen.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned the stock. I know nobody cares. Nobody's paying any attention to what is going on with Tesla stock right now. But maybe one or two people are. So let's talk about today's action. And so what did you think? What's going on? What do we take away from today's action?
Well, let's not just talk about today's action. Let's talk about in general the action we've been seeing.
Okay.
First of all, my take is we don't know why the stock's going up, other than there's more buyers than sellers.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, we have no way to determine if it's because, okay, so two things we do know: there's more buyers than sellers, and we know this is not just retail, right? Because the volume is just way too big for it to just be retail. So what we don't know is why. We don't know if it's because, well, it's the new second half of the year, which you can make a strong argument for because this started before deliveries came out.
Right.
You can make an argument that it's because deliveries and energies surprised by a lot.
Right.
You can make the argument is because, oh, now it's an AI play and now the market's starting to reprice as an AI play. You can make the arguments because they think earnings are going to be good. Because margin's been down, because 8.8, or it could be none of it. We don't know. The only thing we know for sure, there's more buyers than sellers, and this is not just retail. So with that said, it's pretty damn exciting right now. And if I may, could I share my screen? Because I would like to show.
You're going to have to wait a second, though, because I don't think I set it up for you. So that'll just give me, oops, that's not it. I have got the wrong place here. I'm so sorry. We'll figure this out in a second. There, now you can do it. Yes, share your screen.
Okay, perfect. So once I share my screen, okay, you should be able to see my screen now.
There we go. Now we got it. Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully you can see this decently enough.
Not bad.
And this is me trying to do my part to be a little better the way CERN is with his presentations every time.
Yes.
So, okay, so what do we have here? This is a 5-year chart of Tesla with a weekly candlestick.
Okay.
Why am I showing this to you? Well, because first of all, up here, hopefully you can see that, but up here, this is 414, call it. That was the high post-split that we reached, okay? Since then, you can see that we've been stuck under this downtrend line.
Right.
Until recently, we broke out of it.
Right.
Okay? So that's pretty interesting. Now, you can see we tested it, not quite tested it, we tested again here, almost tested, we tested again, right? the closest we were was here, and this is the last time we were about $300.
Right.
All right. So that's pretty straight. Listen, I'm not a technical analysis person. I just look at this to, like, it's interesting. You don't need to believe in this to think it's interesting.
Right. And by the way, that it has a self-fulfilling aspect to it, because lots of people do believe it and listen to it. So therefore, they take action based on it. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, while I don't believe much in technical analysis as far as like charts or inverted head and shoulders and all that stuff, I do believe in statistics. And so with that said, if we look at a 1 year, right, or excuse me, let's make it we can look at 1 year. So 1 year ago, roughly around this time, we touched 299. Right. And that's right.
And 12 cents.
And
Randy had said it would be 300 on that day, months in advance.
I actually do remember this.
Does anybody give Randy credit for that? I mean, seriously.
Randy gives Randy credit for that. Do I sound like your wife now? Nah. So actually, you were closer. It was $299 and 29 cents.
29
cents. What I have here. Okay. But so we almost touched 300 and we hit that line and we came straight down. All right. Yep. So what I did was I used Fibonacci retracements from that to what I would call the low, which was the recent low, which was the 131. Right. That's from that point.
Right.
So why is this interesting? Well, it's interesting because, one, not only did we break out away from that hard resistance that we've been hitting against, we broke out hard, but you can see that literally it's fallen all these retracements like to the T. You can see it bounced off here, came up, hovered, and then once it finally broke out and passed all of these resistance. So why do I care about this? Again, because probabilities, Fibonacci, the reason this is a thing is because we find Fibonacci levels like throughout everything, through nature, everything. It's this consistent pattern in the universe, right? You see it in galaxies, on and on. But so why do I say it today out of all days? Well, you can see right here, what did we struggle today to break? 265. Where's this line at? 265, literally on the dot. And if you were watching today like I was, which is almost impossible not to watch it, we barely broke past 265, but we did break it.
Yes.
Now, lots of things could happen. We could come back down, which is very normal.
Right.
But these levels would tell you like where we would probably hold. Each one of these levels become resistance, right? So we could come down 237. To break below 237 is hard. But let's talk about the upside, because that's really interesting. The next level, going to the upside, is right at 300.
No,
right at $300. What are the odds, right?
So you mean when Randy said this morning on a show that if we break through 265, there's nothing to stop us from going straight to 300? I don't know. Could have happened. I'm just not sure.
That's true. What's even more interesting, though, is to continue this Fibonacci extension, the next level after that is $400.95. So not to say that this is going to happen, right? Like that. All I'm saying is, it's interesting. It's very interesting. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what tomorrow's going to happen. I know that after hours right now we're up. Not to, be a little too early for the end of the channel or episode here. It's really exciting. And something's happening. And I put a post on X today saying that all of this has happened. And there's so many things that still haven't happened, which to me is even more interesting. So what I wrote on X today was that we have had this amazing run up and everything, but we still have not reached all-time highs.
Right.
There still is no robotaxi. We still haven't gotten rate cuts from the Fed. We still don't have a friendly president or administration towards Tesla. Right. There's still no Optimus update. We still don't have any next-gen vehicle. There's still no licensing deal. And I could go on and on. So there's a lot of room for running up. Now I do think at a certain point we need to see revenue, we need to see margins, right? Eventually that has to happen. But it doesn't always have to happen, is my point. People want to get ahead of things before they
Sure.
happen,
Sure.
right? People want to sell out before recession comes. People want to get in the market before the rates cut, right? So that is natural to happen. So I don't know. I'm feeling good, Randy.
Yeah.
If you can't tell, I
Well,
think this
no,
is great. I think this is brilliant. I think this is long overdue. And I don't actually think we are getting overextended here. I think we're regressing back to the mean.
yeah. Okay, I would agree with that. Now, my technical analysis is not nearly as sophisticated as yours. I just look at where the psychological points are, the points which it had difficulty getting through before. I think the most foundational and fundamental kind of technical analysis, to me, that looked like I'm sorry, to 200, then to 200, of course, round number, then 220, 260 was the big one, but it was 260, 265. So it was kind
265.
of hard to pick whether it was 260 or 265. That's why I said this morning, if we blow past 260, that'll be cool. But if we can blow past 265, especially if we can end the day above 265, that would really be good. But after hours is now going up and knocking on the door again at 265. So that's on the technical side. Now, on the fundamental side, let me throw you my theory here. Bad theory, but not that bad. Maybe. Let's see. So we hit all-time high at a time when people were expecting 50% year-over-year growth, and everybody thought that robotaxi was like right around the corner, within the year, 6 months, whatever. But it was really, really close. And I think that the robotaxi impact was even bigger than the 50% growth impact. And people are just like, okay, it's going to happen. This is going to be the biggest thing ever. Well, then it didn't happen, and it didn't happen, and it didn't happen. And I feel that is what started the slump. The market, of course, the economy, et cetera, there was some, negative action going on there too. But at the end of the day, we didn't get the robotaxi. And then we got down to where we weren't getting that 50% year over year growth either. But there were still some promises out there. Some promises of robotaxi, some promises of Optimus, some promises of higher uptakes, people taking the full self-driving, the promises of new vehicles coming out, et cetera, the Cybertruck and more. Now we're sitting in a situation where it looks like we've bottomed out on the bad news. Elon Musk is back in the driver's seat and showing up on X every single day. And then we have this stack of possibilities. It's no longer just robotaxi. It's no longer just FSD and robotaxi. Now you have a stack of opportunities. You've got the $25,000 car. You've got the Juniper refresh. You've got the what do you call it? The Optimus, of course. You've got the semi truck starting to build that facility. You've got the cyber cab and what that might look like and how that's different from robotaxi. You've got the energy information that's just been made real. People have finally figured it out, and that is just going to keep going like that. It's easy to put that on a spreadsheet. So it's kind of like, maybe I said this morning on the show, it's kind of like Wall Street might have gone and learned how to use an adding machine. Instead of a spreadsheet, they said, wait a minute, if we add this and this, whoa, and then we add this, and then we add this. What do you think? Where am I wrong?
I think you're right on a lot of that, but I wouldn't discount the fact that the economy did take a downturn, the fact that we did start seeing less deliveries, the fact that we had to do lots of price cuts, the whole drama with the acquisition of Twitter, Elon selling. I mean, like, there was a lot of stuff we've gone through in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot. Like, it's honestly too long of a list to even start, right? All the stuff with Biden, the UAW stuff,
Right.
the Red Sea, the China shutdowns. I mean, it's the protests in, what was it, Norway. I mean, it just goes on and on. It's been bad news after bad news, but I like the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. When it comes to all this AI stuff, I don't know why we're finally coming back, but when it comes to this AI stuff, if you need NVIDIA GPUs to do AI things, who's buying the most NVIDIA GPUs? It's one man, Elon Musk.
Right.
So if you're betting on AI things to happen, look at who's buying all the things you need to make AI things happen. And that's Elon Musk.
Right.
Right. I mean, the fact that he's building this crazy big supercomputer, doing a whole south extension on Giga Texas, then with XAI, they're building out in Tennessee. I mean, they're just everywhere. Like it's Elon. He's doing all the things. I don't
Right.
see anybody else doing this. And I've stressed this a million times. Name me another company that's not just doing a feature, if you will,
Right.
right, or something that's additive to a human. Robotaxis is not additive to a human. It's not just a feature. It replaces the need to drive. It's standalone. It's real time, not latent bound. It has real life and death consequences if you screw it up. So you
Yeah.
can't be wrong. You can't make mistakes.
Right.
I don't know anyone else doing AI projects like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, you throw Optimus on top of that, and who knows, maybe Dojo or some additional level of consequence that would be even on top of all of that. And remember, my most important one is still Grok in the car. You got to be able to talk to your car. I mean, if we can talk to the car, the kids are going to make mom and dad buy that car. I mean, that's just all there is to it. I mean, it's one thing to have it be able to fart. It's a whole nother thing if you can have a conversation with it.
Yeah, that's going to, I think, be very important.
You take
I
it
mean,
way too seriously.
well, here's the thing that already exists. Companies already have that,
No,
right?
I
You
mean
have,
really talk like a robot, like talking like your buddy. It's
yeah, no,
got to be
I get what you're
conversational.
saying. I'm just saying, like, you already have Alexa in cars. You already have Siri in cars. Um, I think Lexus, maybe they're the ones with Alexa. I don't know. They have this with some cars already. It's all right,
Got to be
but
way better.
I think I don't think it's important to be able to have a conversation with your car as much as it's important for you to be able to say, "Hey, just pull up here, pull over here on the left, or just pull over by these trash cans, or actually, you can stop here at the light. I'll get out here." That is important because
No, but I wanted
that
to have a
happens a lot.
snarky answer. I wanted to say back, what? You want me to stop there? Give me a break. That's not a good place to stop. How about if I stop up there just a little further?
I wanted to, yeah, I wanted to be snarky and say, "Yeah, good idea. You could use the exercise. Go walk."
See, that's what I'm
Yeah,
talking about. Yeah, absolutely.
that would be funny. That would actually be like a reason to like take it. It's
That's
like for the
what I'm
entertainment. Like,
talking about.
yeah.
See, I finally got a convert. Oh my goodness, it's got
Oh,
to
that'd
be.
be hilarious
It
if
would be
like every little
phenomenal.
thing,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, especially if it can like see you and be like, like, you chose that to go out tonight.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Tell that kid in the back seat to settle down. He's way too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think that would be a ton of fun. All right, listen, I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, but Gary and Larry are arguing about a
Gary and
stock
Larry.
buyback or a stock float. I don't know if you've been watching that on X, but there's been long, long conversations about, Gary's wanting to have a stock buyback, which everybody thought was a dead issue that was done and nobody was talking about it anymore. And then, Larry's been talking about maybe a new float, a couple 20 billion or so of new float. But I think he's pretty much all alone in thinking about that as well. Any thoughts on either one of those?
Yeah, I think they're both wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think Tesla needs to go back. Well, I don't actually know what. Let me take this back. I think Gary is wrong. I don't think Tesla's going to do buyback anytime soon. It's not the right time. I would be upset if they did a buyback. Um, and then as far as Larry, is he saying they need to take debt, or is he saying they need to go back to the capital markets and
Go to the capital market, raise another 20
okay,
billion or so. No,
yeah, there's no need.
no need.
They have plenty of cash on the balance sheet. They're still printing money. We're going to see this quarter they'll add more to the balance sheet. Um, there's just no need right now. I think I Elon likes to be very lean and disciplined. I
Yeah.
think if they had to go back to the capital markets, Elon would think there's a problem,
Hmm.
right? So I don't know. I don't see that. You have to be able to work within your footprint of what you got. And if you look at how they spend money on R&D versus anybody else, there's no company more efficient. There is no company more efficient.
Right.
So again, they got plenty of money. We're about to come out of this. In the next 12 months, things are going to be a lot better. Rates will be lower. That will stimulate the economy. People will be more willing to go and purchase cars than were before. We're probably going to have this next gen vehicle, right? So I don't see this as an issue.
Talk to me about the Generation 2.5 vehicle. I'm going to be asking Jeff about this tomorrow night because he's confused me. And so I'm wondering how you're seeing this. So I'm seeing the Gen 2.5 vehicle as being in the final form factor as the Gen 3 vehicle, being whether it's smaller, a hatchback, I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but it will be in the form factor that they expect the eventual Gen 3 to be in. The interior will be this what they expect. Everything will be what the Gen 3, but the difference is it's going to be made on the existing lines and only partially unboxed. So they will unbox what they can, but eventually it'll all come to a traditional line in terms of being assembled on a Model 3 or Model Y line in Austin. That's how I see it. It sounds like Jeff is thinking that something entirely different. And I think other people are thinking there's two different vehicles, maybe a Model 3 stripped down that's coming out as a 2.5 or a shorter version. I don't know, but that the Generation 3 vehicle will be something entirely different and it'll be anyway. What do you think is going to happen? Are we just all in the dark till Elon tells us?
So we don't know. Well, here's what we know. We know that they're going to bring out some new vehicles earlier than they would have. They're accelerating it. We know it's going to be built on the same lines that exist. So there may be some cross pollination with Model Y, Model 3. It may be variants of it. We know that it's going to leverage some aspects of the unbox process, not fully. And we know that Elon said that it will come out either at the end of this year or early first quarter next year. And we know that he said that he'll have more to say about it during 8.8. Those are all the things we know. Anything else is speculation. Could it be a variant of a 3 and Y kind of stripped down, maybe smaller, squeezed? Possible. Could it be a whole new vehicle design that they can just happen to modify and leverage the same lines? Possibly. Could it be that there's a next vehicle after that? Yeah, eventually there will be. What I think it is they're taking their unbox process method instead of working on doing the robotaxi and at the same time. I think it was slowing them down. I think they saw FSD progress was happening faster than they even thought it would. And so they wanted to go all out for the robotaxi to get that ready to go. And they said, okay, well, we aren't ready for this other vehicle, but we have these parts of the unbox kind of ready to go in parallel. So
Uh-huh.
we can do that. It's a hybrid. And I think over time, you will see this, what you're calling 2.5, become the actual next gen vehicle with the whole unbox process.
Got it.
But right now, they're mitigating. They're taking some elements of unbox, leveraging some elements of the line, and going from there. That's how I interpret it. But we'll see. We'll
Right.
find out soon enough, and it's
Yeah.
exciting.
About a month from now, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think we're so far off what you're saying. What I'm saying.
all right. Okay. All right. Earnings are going to be in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today is earnings, and a month from today is 8/8. Wow. Earnings in 2 weeks. Do you have any burning questions for that call?
Yeah, so I actually sent them to you. I had to think about this for a while because I know anything asked about robotaxi, FSD, it's going to get punted to 8.8.
Right.
So my thought was, okay, well, why would I ask any questions about that? So what I had written to you was, we have Robotaxi event on 8.8. When will we get a Optimus Day or AI Day 3?
Ah,
Preferably an Optimus Day.
yeah.
But then I had more time to think about it. And I thought, okay, what I would probably also like to ask is, will 8.8 be will be detailed in terms of the robotaxi revenue model and how Tesla will roll it out broadly, or will this just be unveiling the vehicle? We just want to
Mm-hmm.
set expectations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So don't give us details on it. Just
Right.
like, how should we
Yeah.
think about this?
Yeah. All right. So that's what you'd like to know. Because what I think right now, and you might have even said this in your little note back to me, I think a lot of people are worried about disappointment on 8.8. They're not, it's almost like some people are like, oh, I can't wait to 8.8. Whatever they tell us, that's great. And other people are like, boy, I hope it's not disappointing. That the stock might be sitting at 300 plus going into 8.8, and a disappointing, we've seen a few disappointing meetings before. So the 8.8 side of it, what do you think is, so do you think that's the bare minimum that the folks want to see on 8.8, is how it works in terms of the money side? Or do you think they would be disappointed if there isn't a physical vehicle that they can see and Elon summons and brings up on stage, or whatever it's going to be?
No, we're we're gonna see a vehicle.
Oh, okay, that's
Like,
for sure. All right.
yeah, I mean, it's literally the robo taxi unveil. Like,
Okay.
that's literally what it is.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Now, I think people will be disappointed if there's no guidance of any sort, right? Like,
How does it?
tell us second half 2025,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you got, give us like a window, right? Even if it's a 6 month, even if it's a year-long window, even if you say, we see, based on the rate of progress of FSD, we anticipate sometime end of 2025, early 2026. That's fine. At least now we know. And then I also think helping us understand how this would roll out, how they would approach it. Would they start city by city? Would they just try to go wide out the gate? How does insurance work with, like, there's lots of like these like little questions
Mm-hmm.
that they have to have thought of, because I watched AI Day 1. Yeah. Yeah. Or autonomy day? No, AI day. Sorry. Again, I'm confused. So the first AI day. So first you had autonomy day, I think, and then you had AI day. Anyway, so I watched that one again,
Oh,
and there are lots of these questions asked of him.
uh-huh.
Like, how does the insurance work? And Elon said, well, I imagine Tesla would take liability.
Yeah.
They asked about, the revenue model, and he had that all fleshed out.
Right.
So just more in that sense, right?
Mhm.
Doesn't mean it's going to be right. Nothing is guaranteed, but just help us think about it. And I don't even care about the revenue model, to be honest. I just care about how are you going to roll this out, and when do you think this will start to roll out?
Right. Okay, cool. All right. And then we have also the juniper. You know that I'm all
You're
concerned about.
all about that.
I am all about the juniper. It's driving me crazy. So now we know it will definitely not be out this year. And so by not saying any more than that, I'm guessing that it will be out sometime in 2025, but probably early in 2025 based on earlier statements. Why do you think they're waiting? Do you think it's just not enough bandwidth to do everything at once? Why do you think? Why it seems to me that they could sell a couple of 100,000 extra Model Ys this year if they were able to make those changes.
Well, I definitely don't think you would do this during your two most important quarters, Q3, Q4. That would be insane.
Oh, make the
Um,
changeover.
Yep. You would do that in Q1 for sure.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, I also think that they are spread very thin. If they have these other vehicles about to come out, they're working on those. presumably is more than one. It's, I think it's going to
Yeah.
be two. They are full throttle with the FSD. And we saw how the Model 3 refresh went. It took a while. And it takes time, right? To test all this, to validate it. And if there's one thing, contrary to what the media likes to say, Tesla's very stringent on their QA. So, they're not just going to slap something together and put it
Right.
out just to say they got a
Right.
refresh.
Okay.
So yeah, I think there's a lot of it. It's the timing, it's what they currently have on their plate, and then yeah, they got to validate everything.
Okay. Well, let's change over to the economy. Powell
Yes.
said absolutely nothing today that we hadn't heard before. Some people, including me, were hoping that there might have been just this little bit of softening. He did say something about making progress, but I think he's kind of been saying making progress for a while. So this may be a very unfair question to ask you the day before CPI.
Well, is that this Thursday, right?
Today is Tuesday. CPI is Wednesday. PPI
This
Thursday. I
Wednesday?
think.
I thought
Am
it
I
was
wrong?
Thursday.
Am I
I
wrong
thought it
on
was
that?
Thursday, Friday.
Boy, listen. I could be wrong. But I have it very, very close at hand. At least, yeah, there it is, right there. Just a second here. Tuesday, Wednesday. Oh boy, look at you. Yes, you are correct. It is Thursday. All right, so 2 days before CPI.
That's why you
Man.
got me on here.
To keep me honest. All right, 2 days before CPI. So if CPI comes out, let's call it, I don't know if I want to use the word benign. If it comes out kind of like in the middle, still continuing to show, in other words, kind of like last month, showing,
Last month was zero, right?
well, yeah, so that was zero on, I think, the month over month, but not the year over, well, the year over year obviously wasn't zero. Uh, but I guess what I'm saying is if the direction is still good, not phenomenal, not off the wall, just not too hot, not too cold, just right. Do you think that this Fed will still be talking about needing more information if we can get two in a row that are decent?
What's the expectation right now? 0.2?
What is what?
What's the expectation right now?
Oh,
0.2?
expectation. Just a second. I have that handy as well. The expectation on Thursday is that it'll be up. The core will it be up 0.2, which is what it was last month. The core was up 0.2. The headline was up 0.0. And this month they're expecting the headline to be up 0.1.
Okay. I think if headline is zero point 0.1 or below, really good. We need 0.1s because you can't have a lot of 0.2s
Right.
because 0.2 times 12 is 2.4. So you need to have 0.1s, you need to have some zeros. So I think any of those will be very good because then they can start to see what year over year will start to look like in 2025.
Right.
So I think that really matters. I think there's a chance that we show to the downside. Like we could see a zero, we could see a negative.
On headline? On headline?
Month over month. Yeah.
Okay. On
Yeah.
headline.
We're not gonna see negative. Yeah. Oh yeah. Versus core. Yes. He, yes. It's definitely possible. So I think that would be very interesting. And I listen when I was hearing Powell talk today. Now, mind you, I wasn't that engaged in it. I just had a background while I'm working. Um, I walked away from that hearing him essentially say that September is probably going to be uh, when this happens. The way he's speaking now, that all the numbers have to keep being
Right.
favorable, right?
Right. Right.
So
Can't
if
have
it
a
changes, it
surprise.
changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I heard was essentially that politics won't be a reason why they don't do something. And to be frank, at this point, knowing where things are with the election and everything, if they did a rate cut in September, it's not going to move the markets. It's not going to change anything politically.
It
So
takes
I
it takes at least 2 to 3 months before that ripples through. We're yeah, yeah.
regardless, like we're at a point now in the election cycle where I don't think much is going to change at this point. Um, Especially if Biden stays in and Trump doesn't do anything crazy, it's just going to be what it is. Like we might as well vote tomorrow. Like
Yeah,
it's
right.
I don't think I don't I think 99.99% of people have made up their minds on which way they're going to go and what they want. I think the election could happen tomorrow. It's going to be the same outcome no matter what.
So so are you still of the opinion that the first cut will be bigger than a quarter, just as some kind of signal?
So I've said this repeatedly that I think that they will do a quarter point first, and then they're
Oh,
going to do a bigger point after, or
oh,
a bigger
after
after.
I
Yes,
I'm sorry. Okay.
yeah. So that's why, because I think when they do it, it's going to be like a uh-oh kind of moment. Something inevitably, something's always. I mean, I hope that's not. I hope I'm wrong on this.
Yeah.
I would love just to have a beautiful soft landing. Rates come down. Um, we all refinance our debt. Market goes up. Like, yeah, that'd be great. But I don't know. There's just lots of warning signs out there. It, if you look at any of the inflation numbers, you take out housing, we're way low. The economy is slowing like crazy.
Yeah.
Like really outside of the Mag 7, things aren't pretty. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
NFIB numbers were terrible this morning again. And that the independent business people are like, no, it's not good, and we don't expect it to be good. So, and it's called the optimism index. So
Yeah.
they weren't very optimistic, that was for sure. So we got the small business people unhappy. You've got housing down. You've got, in fact, interesting. Just read a long article about this. I know 𝐭𝐫𝐳's been talking about it a little bit. That new houses right now, there's
Yeah.
a 9-month supply of new houses. But
More
apparently they've
more
been,
than yeah, there's more new housing than there are existing
yeah,
housing.
existing. It's still 2.5 months or something, but there's a 9-month supply of new housing. And from the article, it's just one article, so I wasn't really going to report on it, but it came up. From the article, what they were saying is that they've built the housing in the wrong price points.
No.
So they've been building, listen, it doesn't, there's no extra cost for the permit, significant cost for permits, land, et cetera, to build a $1 million house than there is for a $200,000 house. So why wouldn't you buy the more expensive one? And not have, you get much bigger return on your investment. But what's happening now is that the demand is in that $150,000 to $400,000, $500,000 price category. There's no houses in that category.
Yeah, definitely not where I live.
Yeah, yeah, that's nothing. The new houses are much more expensive, certainly on the coast. So anyway, so we've got really not a lot. So we'll get second quarter, what do you call it, GDP in a couple of weeks. Do you think there's any chance it will already be negative? Or do you think we'll stay above the waterline?
I don't know. It's hard to like say anything about any of
Yeah,
these numbers like that because it's all about the revisions.
right,
Especially like GDP, like they'll get revised like 3 times.
right.
Um, I mean, just look at this. We haven't spoken actually since the jobs numbers came out. And did you see those revisions? Like, come on, what are we doing here? And on top of that, I think 70% or something of those jobs created this month or this past month were all government jobs. Now, not federal government; it's state
Federal
governments,
and
et cetera.
state,
But still,
but
it's
another
still,
40% of them were health,
yeah,
which might as well be government.
yeah. So it's crazy. I mean, the economy has slowed down
Yeah.
a lot, and government is propping it up right now.
Yep. Yep. Yes.
So it's scary. It's scary, Andy. This is why I think that we're gonna see something kind of break. I mean, again, I'm not. This isn't gonna be like an '08 thing. I don't think, unless there's something that we're all missing.
Well, no,
Uh,
oh eight was an actual, what do you want to call it? An out of kilter,
yes,
situation
event.
that needed to be fixed. We do have one out of kilter thing going on, and that is the massive amount of spending combined with the massive amount of interest and deficits that we're creating. So that is something that's out of kilter. But you know, the first time that I read a scary article about that, like
90s?
yeah, 90s, maybe well, the 90s, we actually were trying to, we actually had a couple of
Balance it, yeah.
years of negative, even better than balanced surpluses. But no, I think it was about 2014 was the first time that I read like this really scary thing about, well, you know, there's just not going to be enough money to keep the bonds going. You know, that they'll have bond issues and nobody will show up. And so I read the entire article, and it was by somebody that had some gravitas. And I got to the end, and I didn't know what to do with it because they didn't have an answer. It was like, well, you can't buy gold. No, that won't work. No, you can't buy houses. You can't buy property. That's not going to work. It's like no asset class, nothing that you could buy was going to save you from this crunch. And I thought, well, in that case, I guess I'll just keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, you know, it's really interesting. I don't think I've heard, that's the wrong way of saying it. I don't think our country has been so concerned with our debt and deficit since in the levels that I think we are right now, the noise that's being made about it since the late 80s going into the 90s.
Right.
And that gives me optimism. And it's just funny how like things seem to repeat, but they're more so rhyming, right? During that time, we went into the dot-com boom, and then we actually took our debt and deficit serious, and we, you know, it started help, and we had great growth, all that. And now here we are, no internet boom, but here we have an AI boom. And here again, we're starting to care about our debt and deficits, or at least it seems like it. Maybe I'm in my own echo chamber, but you know, I'm starting to hear a lot of people talk about it. So I don't know. It's interesting how these things tend to repeat themselves, but I'm optimistic with some good growth, with another boost in productivity and efficiency, leveraging different types of AI, having technology become deflationary, the way Kathy Woods talks about, and you know, hopefully government starting to, you know, have some checks and balances with their spending. Yeah. And it's not just government's fault. It's our fault because we elect them. So it's our fault. We keep electing the same people that keep doing the same stupid things. So you
Yes,
can't
I
blame
know.
them. You got to blame yourself. So
That's right. That's right. Well, you know, Javier Milei cannot be president of the United States. He just wasn't born here. So,
but that's what I'm saying. Like whether Biden gets reelected or whether Trump gets reelected, somebody has the opportunity to do that.
yes,
To literally go down in history as the person who saved our country potentially from going down the Roman Empire or whatever. Just start slashing, start cutting. You know, like
Vivek says he wants to do it. So
I know.
whether he's VP or whether he's on the cabinet, maybe he'll be hired to do a Javier on the U.S.
I hope so. Somebody has to.
I'd be for that.
Oh, 100%. I'd be for it. I mean, it's you need somebody in there who, and this is why I really like Trump, is because he looks at things and he looks at it from a business perspective, and he calls out where the wasteful spending is, you know, and tells other people, all right, you gotta pay your part. All right, fine. Well, if you don't pay, we're not here. Like, you need to do those things because that's how a business is run, or it goes bankrupt.
Right.
You saw Elon do that. You know, the supercharging team, the leads there weren't getting rid of enough people. So he said, screw it. You're all gone, and I'll slowly hire back as I figure out where we still need people. Right? That's what happened.
I thought the funniest and maybe the line that should go down in history for Trump was his line when he said to Biden, "You've never fired anybody."
Yeah. Honestly,
so funny.
It was so true, though. It was so true. Every company, every year, will trim out their bottom 5-10%. Every company, every good company will do that.
Well-run company, yes.
Yeah, you have to do that. If people aren't performing, you know, or if people make a huge mistake, like, listen, sorry, I know it wasn't intentional, but I'm gonna have to let you go. I gotta get someone else in here. Like, Like it's crazy when people talk like Trump was right. It's like, yeah, you guys talk about people leaving my cabinet and getting fired or like, yes, you want that. That's good. You want to have that because we only want to have the best of people. And when other people say, "Oh shit," or sorry, I had to cuss, but oh no, my job's on the line, or I might be out,
Yeah.
guess what happens? You
Yeah.
take more accountability. You dot your I's a little better. You cross your T's a little more. You know, you maybe you take that calculated risk that you wouldn't have otherwise, or maybe you don't take that calculated risk. So,
All right. Well, listen, you made the point earlier today that the after hours is looking good for Tesla. So with 10 minutes to go in the after hours, we're up $1.48, sitting at 263 and 81 cents. So not quite cracking the 265, but certainly provides momentum for tomorrow morning, if anybody believes
oh yeah,
that. That we can tell anything from the after hours about what's going to happen tomorrow, but it's certainly not a negative that we're showing a continuation of the momentum. So like a total today, counting the after hours of $10, almost $11 in a single day. So that's a pretty darn good day, especially when the Dow was down 52 and the NASDAQ was only up 25. The S&P was only up 4. And the Magnificent Seven was mixed with Microsoft way down and Google off 4 whole cents. The Cathie Woods were mostly in the green, but it wasn't a spectacular day in the market. I've noticed during this run up and even like the week before the run up, Tesla has been completely disconnected from the rest of the market. When the market's going up, Tesla's going down, and vice versa. It's been completely unconnected.
um, just to say something real quick.
Sure.
I'm trying to think. Oh, it was a shareholder meeting. I was gonna say, where did I hear Elon talk recently? Um, he said something that kind of really caught my attention, and I think may have a lot to do with what we're seeing here. So, as they were going around, they talked to a lot of these institutional investors, Wall Street, et cetera, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he said that he went around, he told them about everything they're doing, and he made some comment like, most of them are in New York and they don't drive, and he's like, well, I think you should go drive the vehicle and see what we're talking about.
Yeah,
And it almost feels like a lot of them went like,
I
all right, let's check
that.
out this. Let's check out FSD. What is this? And it almost feels like a lot of them finally are doing the research and are like, oh, damn. Oh, hold on. Like, I didn't realize they were this far along. That's almost what it feels like.
That's what it feels like.
That
That's
was like it was like one of the first things he said during the shareholder meeting when he came out.
interesting. Interesting.
And it's crazy. I mean, I was just saying on a Spaces with Herbert that today was the first time I ever heard on CNBC anybody mention what version we are on with FSD.
Oh.
They literally said that FSD is now on 12.4. And I was like, you only know that if you were using FSD.
Yeah, right.
And
I'm
so,
paying a lot of attention to the YouTubers and the folks on X. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting. I definitely think people are starting to wake up to what's going to happen. But 8.8 could disappoint.
Could
Just
disappoint
to play devil's
or
advocate.
or it could blow things right off the roof, just completely
It could.
things. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. The bonds in the after hours down, the 10 years down 0.3 of a basis point. The 2-year, 0.2 of a basis point also down, and the 2-month up 0.2 of a basis point. All of the inversions are sitting about where they have been, about 33 basis points on the 2-year and about 110 on the 2-month. So no real changes there. I'm really watching that 33 basis point number that has been stuck. That's been the bottom. I'd be interesting if it breaks below that, if it's a real signal or not. Oil regained a little bit today. It had really been dropping, up 23 cents in the pre-market. They're saying that the infrastructure is recovering from the storm, so therefore the price is up. Seems like if the infrastructure was recovering, the price would go
Go
down
down.
because they could
Yeah.
make more of it. This is all week. These the I'm going to have to dig into that and find out why the headlines seem to be the opposite of what you'd expect. Are these guys completely nuts at CNBC? Well,
Oh,
that's
well, this actually says U.S. oil falls as Gulf Coast infrastructure recovers.
falls. That's right. It does say falls. Yes. Okay. But it's actually up.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Sometimes the headlines are
Well, this
sometimes
is
they're a little
after.
behind. Yes, they can't change them every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, natural gas up 0.30 in the pre-market to 2.351, pretty much in the middle of its recent range. Gold up $3.90, 2,371. I heard that the Chinese stopped buying gold. Second month in a row that they bought a bit and then they stopped. So
Hmm.
that you would think would have caused, again, you'd think if they stopped buying gold, then gold would have fallen off. But right now it's running toward the high end of its recent range. So I don't know. Silver up 0.13% at 31 still, over $30 again. And copper up 0.10, not much change in copper. Any thoughts on precious metals or commodities, anything you're hearing?
Um, no, it's funny. Just only Tesla, I rarely even know what the price of oil is anymore. It used to be something I was always aware of.
Right. So I don't know if you know it, but I've become a Bitcoin owner.
I saw that someone bought you Bitcoin,
10
right?
bucks, 10 bucks. Yeah.
Yeah,
I accidentally said,
nice.
I accidentally told Larry I had 10 Bitcoin. Well, no, $10 worth, $10. Anyway, so now look at this. It's up 1635 in the, well, for the day, because this is a continuous at
Mhm.
57,986. I have made money.
Well, you're my new resident Bitcoin expert. Now you're invested.
The dollar is up a bit in the pre-market, nothing to write home about. And then we've got the equity futures, the Dow down a whole 6 at 0.02, nothing. You can just go well, okay, the NASDAQ is up 20.75.10, but it's pretty, I don't think you're going to get much directionality from what the pre-market is right now on the equities. So there you have it. That's what's happening. You have final words of advice, final words of encouragement. Do you have questions for me? Do you have something you're passionate about that we didn't cover?
Um, I mean, I feel like we covered a lot here.
Boy, we did.
I would just say if you're someone like me who just I don't know during these days it's hard not to keep looking at the stock Tesla stock. Um, download Robinhood. It's free to download it. This isn't it's not like a
Yeah,
sponsorship or
yeah, yeah.
anything. I don't use Robinhood. I just have it so I can track the ticker
Oh,
because they'll have like 24 hours trading for it. So you
oh,
can see what the price is even afterwards.
I see.
So, so it doesn't
There's
necessarily close. Yeah. So
There
I
you
don't know.
go, guys. You
I
want to do
enjoy
it,
it.
you want to do it 24 hours a day instead of just 7 or 12 or whatever
Yeah.
it is.
I,
Oh my gosh. Oh,
I just love looking at it. But no, on a serious note, I would just say a word of caution to everybody out there. Be careful with margin. Be careful doing anything with options. Be smart. I'm not telling you don't do anything. Like I have lots of short puts, which is a bullish play on options, but just be careful. Don't
yeah. I mean,
don't do anything
we
stupid.
could easily be looking at a 20 to 30% retracement.
Easy.
Doesn't mean that it wouldn't just turn back around and go back to higher territory, but I would not be shocked at all to see us go down and test 220, something in
Yeah.
that range. That would not be at all. I would be shocked if it goes below that, but I've been shocked before. I think, in fact, it
Yeah.
could have been around 220 that I was shocked the last time when it just kept on going.
Yeah, I just feel like there's been a lot of people who have been dollar cost averaging
Yeah.
during this whole time and just
Yeah.
trying to put their head down and do believe in this concept of dollar cost averaging. And now that things are moving up and a lot of people are in the green for the first time,
Yeah.
it's just I get the feeling of like, oh, just it's called greed, where you just want more and more, and you just like, oh, let's buy some options or whatever. Again, just be smart. Like, don't do anything that's going to ruin you, because options, margin, all of it can ruin you. In 2022, when everything was crashing, we heard lots of people get ruined out there. It was like a bloodbath on X, or at the time Twitter.
It wasn't good. It was not good.
So yeah, I'm just saying, like, let's enjoy these good days, because we don't know if we're gonna have them tomorrow. Enjoy it. Enjoy this feeling, because Lord knows it's been 3 years that we've been, waiting for these good moments.
It's our time.
Yeah, so enjoy it. Don't take it for granted. And again, just be careful. That's
all right,
it. That's my word.
All right, Nicholas, as always, thank you so much for coming on and helping us to theoretically become way more smart than we were before the show started. And if anybody doesn't think that's true, just let us know in the comments below. I'm sure you will. Nicholas, it's been great. And to all of you out there, it's been great talking to you.
Cheers.